It's not. It will sap the joy and whatever it takes for them to go to, you know, such education. In fact, it happened to some of my friends. You know, like I said, I never went through that. The only thing that could frustrate your education in the university I actually went to is when you're not able to meet up with your school fees. You have to now wait maybe for another semester so you could just, you know, rally around to get funds. But for such kind of student, it's really, really not.
And the parents too.
The parents too, yeah, because the parents, you know, they're the ones actually funding the student, the child. So it's really going to be more taxing on them, looking for where they could get funds. And sometimes if they can't, the child has to just come back home. Because that's just the way it is.
And about this coming back home, actually happened when the issue with my the VC of the school, my school at that point had students who couldn't pay their school fee. It was 45,000. It seemed little, but people didn't really have it. Had to allow them repeat a session. And I had someone, I think we were about in 300 level, then he told me, Margaret, I don't tire.
See?
I told him, he said he doesn't want to go again because for him to even push, he genuinely cannot pay this thing. For him to even push to come to school on his own, his work, she's doing some jobs in between, and this is happening. He said, I don't think I'll come back. And I had to tell him, whether it is, don't worry, even though I have to look for it to give to you. But at that point, you know, you could tell someone wanted to go to school, but the issues in the country couldn't let him finish.
You know, the issue again is this. No doubt we have indigent students. 45,000 is even too much. I knew there was a time at 20,000 students couldn't even pay 20 per semester. Not per, it's not like per month or what have you. You know, and per session rather, not per semester. Do you understand? It's not like your secondary school where you pay school fees per term. No. Students couldn't pay 20,000 per session. Now, it looked like, oh, 20,000, that's minor, you know, a meager amount compared to how much other schools pay. But you had those who genuinely couldn't pay. And the reasons are numerous. They were willing to go to school. There were those who were working while schooling, but they were not using their financial resources to take care of themselves in terms of schooling, because they also had to contribute to, you know, the house or the home where they came from, in terms of, you know, probably their parents are aged and they just can't, you know, fend for themselves. So they have to contribute to the daily living of their families. Now, these students are also affected. You've talked about the joy, you know, that is sapped from parents who can't afford to send all their children to school at the same time. How about even parents that can send their children to school all at the same time, but, you know, you have your child sitting back 6 months, 4 months at home doing nothing, so to speak? Yes, as you said, when this action starts, the industrial action by ASUU starts, there's always that, oh, it's even good, let's have a break. But after a month, you know, it becomes tiring, and you now want to go back to school. There's that desire to go back. Sometimes you try to keep yourself preoccupied. Oh, take one, you know, there was a time computer courses were raining at the time. You take a computer course, you do this, you learn that, or coding and what have you. But with time, you just want to ensure that you complete it, because, as I said, it's like a cloud just hovering there. You really can't have leeway to, you know, other projects you want to face in your life. Again, I think we should understand that the industrial action by ASUU affects not just the students or even the lecturers themselves, but it has, you know, that trickle-down effect to other facets of people's lives, and including the mental and psychological parts that we do not talk about often.
Yeah, but then, aside ASUU strike, because it seems like this is generally about schooling in Nigeria. Now, there's a particular tweet from one Sheyi on Twitter. He said, studying in Nigeria Federal University is pain. Apart from the ASUU thing, do these guys even really deliver? Well, just unnecessary hardship, and some people trying to make life miserable for you by being unreasonable, difficult. But really, though, what do they pass knowledge? Well, the question is, even schooling in Nigeria, aside ASUU strike, I know even without the ASUU strike, we've had issues of sex for grades. We have issues of molestation. We had issues of cultism. No, people have personal experience. I personally had an experience in school about that, which I may not really want to share for now, until I know I'm able to sue wherever I needed to sue at that point, because I was almost being frustrated out of school by a lecturer. So we have these issues. It happened both for the male and the female figure. So schooling in Nigeria alone, after having to go through ASUU strike, you go to a school where if you wear red and black, which is, it could be your favorite color, they'll say your flagging colors, and they'll call you and probably beat you up, snatch your phones. You know, you can't even be safe. So schooling in Nigeria alone, is it really, really, really worth the stress, so to say, as some people would put it? Samuel?
It's not really worth it, It's not really worth it because...
With all the factors.
With all the factors, it's not really worth it because at the end of the day, like I always say, the joy of you going to school will no longer be there. You would only be seeing a whole lot of things you went through just because you want to get this degree. And it will even deter you from even going further. If you had the intention of, having extra degrees, you might not want to do that because you'll be thinking, will I now have to go all of these? No, I don't have that kind of, strength to do that. So it's really not worth it.
Well, it's difficult really, to decide that you really want to continue with such environments. The school, our various schools should be a conducive environment for learning. Now, beyond the industrial action by ASUU or other various unions, you still have, as you said, lecturers who are meant to be, local parents in that sense, guardians to these students, also putting them in a very uncomfortable position. Pressure. There's the undue pressure, there's the financial exploitation, there's the sexual harassment, molestation, and all of that. We've had cases of not just, molestation, but even rape when it comes to student-lecturer relationship. All of these things are also at the fore. So the school, which is meant to be a sanctity for, knowledge as well as a bit of solace where students can get inspired, now becomes a place where they can't even get refuge from because they are scared that, oh, I can't go to this lecturer's class. If I go for his class, it would be looking out for me in class, and there's something we're still battling with here and there and all of that. All of these things do not even provide the enthusiasm. They do not fuel the enthusiasm of the average Nigerian student to learn. But again, one thing is we've always alluded to the Nigerian spirit, that we're resilient people and all of that. So regardless of the ASUU strike, a lecturer harassing you, financial challenges at home, or probably you've been served breakfast in terms of emotional challenges, the truth is the average Nigerian student still goes through all of this. You still keep going to school. You just want to finish among other, desires of yours, just to ensure that you get the certificate. Again, it is a really, really challenging period in terms of our education sector at this time. I really hope that we get it right. Make education, more admirable to those who are aspiring to go into it. Because as it is now, beyond the ASUU strike, beyond the sex for grade scandal, what have you, education is not something appealing to the average Nigerian. Well,
and let's even look at the age factor. Some people who may really, really want to go for the National Youth Service, want to be you wear the uniform for the sake of prestige. But once you're 30 and above? You can. And some people might really enter school early, for instance, or late. But maybe calculating it before I get to 30, I would have finished school. At least I'll be able to wear that uniform. I know my mother was particular about NYS uniform. I don't know even why I was in secondary school. When she see come member, she just, hi, and she tells me, I know one day you wear it. She can literally pay for your transport fare. You come to have shop to buy something. If you're a core member, she's just natural love she had for you. When I asked her why, she said because when she sees, one day she told me, I saw a fine core member, a girl, you look like her. I'm just imagining you on that uniform. So even me wouldn't want to sell because she wanted that, and I know how she has thought about it from while I was in secondary school to my university days. I just want to see me on my uniform made her so proud and happy when I didn't want to do that anyway. But then we have people who are like that. We've had parents who really want their children to wear that uniform, and students who really just want to wear that uniform for the sake of finally, I've admired people and I'm finally doing this. But now the age comes up, they cannot even lie. You see that I entered school late, I want to... Maybe 27, and 26. Then you are 26, you're wondering, or 25, you say before 30, I'll be able to attend. And ASUU strike comes and shatters your plan and the plans of your mother. And some other employers rather, I would say, they really want people who are young and vibrant to work for them. So all of these things, there are ripple effects on, even in your work life, I don't know if that's the best form of putting this, but you should just help me out.
Well, the thing is, we talk about the ASUU strike of a thing and how it affects students who are meant to probably finish, get in school 20, finish at 24, but because of the peculiarities of our education sector, you finish at probably 26 or 27, depending on if your school also has its own internal crisis. What that would mean is, as you've said, it would also rub off on their chances of getting employed. Over the last 4 or 5 years, what's been the trend in the job sector or in terms of the labor market is that you have employers puts a peg to, you know, the age of their employees. So you hear, we want someone who is not more than 25.
Which you really blame them.
And then you now hear 3 years experience. So
they're wondering how that would happen.
There's even the possibility for someone who got into school at age 16, you know, and by 22 you're done with 20 you're done with school, 21 you're done with service, you know, in a sane climb. Between 21 and 23, 24, 25, you could really have those 2-3 years of experience.
Same time.
That's why I said same time. You could really have those, you know, years of experience that employers would want. But when you've gone through the usual schooling in Nigeria and your 22 becomes 25, 26, by the time you finish service 27 plus, almost 28, and you're searching for jobs, and majority of the jobs you find has, you know, that age limit at probably no more than 26, you're already, you know, at a disadvantage
point,
you know, it's almost like within the labor market, you've been disenfranchised in that sense. So the ASUU strike also affects the employability of students who are willing to delve into, you know, career opportunities. That those who they know straight up they're going into trade, you know, so they are not really affected. But for those who are trying to become, you know, career, you know, people in terms of blue collar jobs, then it affects them more. And all of these things has to be addressed, really. As I said, there's a ripple effect. It's not just about the academic pursuit. The other aspects of their lives also stalled. All
right, now this finally, just for a wrap up, a graduate, someone, that's the first tweet I quoted by Oluwatimile. He says, a graduate is 10 times better than a billionaire without degree. Of course, that had a response. Oluwabusolami said, I would have preferred to be a billionaire without degree so I can buy, at least use my money to buy that degree certificate. Well, I am not in support of, disclaimer, I am not in support of buying degree certificates. It's either you go to school and obtain the degree in a very, very, you know, it's genuine, a genuine form, or you don't necessarily have to have a degree to be successful now. So please do not buy degrees. But then, do you really think, Samuel, that a graduate is 10 times better than a billionaire without degree? Don't forget, money answers all things. Quickly, please.
Yeah, for this particular student or particular individual, I can understand why he or she is saying this. It's just obvious. He or she cannot stand that stress of going through school, and at the end of the day, you get the degree, but where's the joy? The joy is not there. The degree is actually with you, but when you, in fact, it's something that experience cannot leave you within a short space of time.
So, would you rather have money or a degree, or rather have a degree?
I would still subscribe for every individual, get the degree, whatever it is, you know, whatever is going to take you. However it is, just get it.
Okay.
There's that pride, you know, having that degree at the end of the day.
Well, beyond
degree or money, let's not have.
No, beyond pride, really, you have to understand that the issue of money is relative to people. You can be aspiring to be a billionaire. I may be comfortable being a millionaire. Do you understand? So,
or a professor without, not a millionaire.
Now, the degree of being wealthy or having money differs. There are those for scholars, and I'm talking about genuine scholars, they're more vested in books. They're more vested in the knowledge acquisition. So they will prefer to, you know, have more of the degrees, more of the knowledge, as long as they can afford basic needs. Maybe just a car, it could be a 3-bedroom bungalow to their name. They're fine. And there are those who want 10, 15 houses here and there. So you cannot necessarily say a degree is better, and at the same time, you can't say money is better.
I'm asking you what you prefer. You're going...
No, I'm trying to make you understand that both sides to it, really.
What would you prefer?
Life is good.
You see this something very diplomatic. Like he said, life is good. I have a degree and I want to have
personally, I'm more of the knowledge acquisition.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay, thank you so much, Samson. Thank you so much, Samuel. Yeah, all right, coming up next, we have the money segment. Well, you just mentioned money or degree. They are both important, depends on what you think is important for you. Some people, I don't know what that is. Some people, books don't enter their head. Some people are rather make money and get a degree later. So whatever works for you. Personally, I want to have money, a lot of money, and also degree too. But money is important. That's why the money segments come after the short breaks. Please stay with us.